and welcome to Craig's Gun Channel, Random Shots, the show where we basically talk about anything and everything firearm related, Second Amendment related, conspiracy theories, politics.
What episode are we on now?
This is episode 18.
18. Nice. Nice.
So, for some of you, apologize, we forgot to mention on the last broadcast, we're actually going to every other week now. So,
busy season outside, gardens, work to do on the house.
Well, you know, the weather gets nice, so that means there's more work to do, and it also means we can get out to the range occasionally, too.
That's right.
We're going to be able to start putting out more range footage, so that's always fun. We enjoy it, and hopefully you guys enjoy it, too.
Got some good products that we're going to be taking out here soon, too.
Yep.
Really excited about some of them.
Yep, a lot of neat stuff in the pipeline, so hopefully, you know, something to look forward to. We look forward to it. Hopefully you will as well. As always, we appreciate your comments and feedback, so if you have anything that you want to comment on, let us know. We'll try to pay attention to it and work it into the show when we can. Or if it's just feedback about the show, things you might want to see in the future, let us know that as well. So, as always, we're trying to get around, or not get around, that doesn't sound right. We're trying to
escape the chokehold.
Escape the chokehold, that's a good way to put it, of the YouTube algorithm. YouTube hates content like this, anything that's 2A related. So generally speaking, we don't get pushed by the algorithm. So we would appreciate
punch that like bar,
hit the like button, subscribe, share, tell people about it, and that'll help out. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started.
Let's get started. Let's do this.
So we'll go ahead and get moving. The first thing we're going to come up with is a new product announcement. This was just announced a couple days ago, and go ahead and pull it up here. I'll make the picture bigger.
I think this is going to be a good one.
So this is the Springfield Armory announces the release of the Hellcat Pro OSP with threaded barrel. It's featuring an extended 4.4-inch threaded barrel. The new Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro OSP combines the performance of a larger handgun with class-leading concealability. The result is an exceptional everyday carry pistol ready to accept the suppressor or muzzle device of your choice. This is a press release I'm reading, by the way, so in case it sounds like a press release.
It is.
Designed to deliver the perfect balance, the new Hellcat Pro is a compact pistol chambered in 9mm that offers 15+1 capacity in a smaller footprint than almost any other gun in its class. It packs the impressive capacity while still maintaining the ergonomic slim profile of the original Hellcat for seamless concealability. The barrel of the new Hellcat Pro OSP, like the original Hellcat and Hellcat Pro, is made from hammer-forged steel with black melanite finish, featuring a 1 in 10-inch rate of twist. The barrel has a 0.5 by 28 threading for accepting a wide range of suppressors and muzzle devices. Now, of course, if you put a suppressor on it, it's going to be a little bit harder to conceal, but just
they don't make holsters for that?
Yeah, well, they probably do, actually, but my waistband, it wouldn't probably quite fit. It features their OSP configuration, which stands for Optical Sight Pistol. So it's got the slides already cut to accept a variety of red dot sights using the Springfield micro footprint. It's designed to direct mount the smallest, most popular micro dot sights in the market. So that direct without a mounting plate required, it allows that thing to sit lower, and it just makes a smaller form factor. It allows you to use the smaller red dot sights, which some people like the larger ones, but the whole idea of a compact carry pistol is keep everything smaller and concealable. So go ahead and pretty much it with that. So it's just, like I said, it's the Hellcat OSP now with a threaded barrel is really what it amounts to.
Is there anything out of the ordinary that they're doing differently than any of the other manufacturers that are basically putting out pistols just like, with all the same features? I mean, we're seeing everything that's coming out now has the mounting plate. Everything's got a threaded barrel, it seems like, know. Is there anything different on here?
It's all the standard features. What the main departure is with this is it's the Hellcat Pro OSP,
which has been a popular gun.
Has been a popular firearm, yeah. And now it's got a threaded barrel. So I would say that's probably the biggest change.
That's the kick.
In this category of firearms, the small concealed, high capacity firearm market, not a lot of them with threaded barrels, because it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, because there again, it makes it a little bit longer. And it goes into that whole age-old thing, too. It's concealed carry pistol. So,
why? Yeah.
Why? But now, if
seems like everybody's doing it.
Yeah. So
trying to keep up with the Joneses. Did you mention MSRP?
I did not yet. MSRP is, this is a weird one, $667.
And 32 cents.
Yeah, well, yeah, so that one's kind of weird. But the Hellcat, they're a nice pistol. So
Do you think that they fit in that price point as far as quality from your experience? Are they overpriced, or are they...
Actually,
I mean, compare it to something.
Today, I would say yes. They're overpriced.
They are overpriced.
Yeah, because when they first came out, they were the class leader. They were the first to market with it. There's a lot of competition now in that same market space. And Springfield, the quality might be a little bit better, but you've got, Ruger's got one in the same class now.
For a little bit less.
Or a couple hundred less. Is the Springfield quality better than Ruger? Probably a little, but I'll be honest with you, it's a concealed carry pistol. You're going to be wearing it in your waistband. It's going to get all sweaty and gunky, and it's going to corrode. Do you need...
That's right.
I don't know if you need the extra quality on that, really. But people will get comfortable with certain brands. So if you're comfortable with Springfield, carry what you're comfortable with and what you know works for you.
That's right.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. And this one is the Ruger introducing and this one's not necessarily new. This was from April. I just kind of missed it, and then I saw it and wanted to bring this out. It's the new Ruger Mark IV 2245 Lite optic ready with co-witness sights. Go ahead and pull it up here. So they've expanded the Ruger Mark IV 2245 Lite family of rimfire pistols with the new model, which features a mounting position for a standard shield RMS footprint reflex optic in place of the pick rail. It also features a raised front fiber optic sight and an adjustable rear sight that co-witnesses with most micro red dot optics.
Okay.
It has press release again, so I'll just read it as they put it. The new model has an attractive ventilated rib on top.
Steve would like that.
Anodized receiver.
Steve would. Magazine Steve would be all over this one.
He would, because there again, it's got the nice
sexy
top.
slide.
So the new model combines lightweight, precision molded polymer grip frame. Anyone familiar with the 2245 line, that's basically what they have. They've got that grip angle to kind of simulate a 1911 grip angle, and they're usually a polymer frame as far as the lower frame on it. Of course, it's 22 caliber. Comes in at 22.5 ounces. It's the ideal lightweight rimfire pistol. Some other things about it here. Its capacity is 10+1, so it's the same standard single stack 10-round magazine. The receiver material is aluminum, front fiber optic sight, 4.4-inch barrel, polymer grip frame. Grips are checkered in 1911 style. It's finished in a clear anodized, 1.22 inches wide. Rear sight is adjustable. It's got a threaded barrel with a 1/2 by 28 thread pattern. It's got the weight here is 25 ounces. I'm assuming that would be the fully loaded weight. Overall length is 8.4 inches, 5.64 inches high. Let's see, 1 in 16 right-hand 6-groove twist barrel. It is not available in California and not available in Massachusetts because of, the wonderful freedoms there.
Leftards?
Yeah. Suggested retail price, $719.
Jeez!
So it's expensive.
So I'm taking from this that if you're buying this gun, you are a competitive match shooter. And this is one of those ones that would fit in that class. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. This is it's a race gun. So now, is it a top tier race gun? Well, no, but that's pretty much what it's
it'll
made
get
for.
You started.
Yeah, it's for competitive shooting. I like the 2245 line. Now, like I said, MSRP on it is $719, which is steep. Street price on these is usually a couple hundred less.
That's
so.
Yep.
But
it doesn't look bad. Another comment I was going to make: 25 ounces for a 22, even fully loaded. That's a pretty heavy. That's a pretty stout.
They're a kind of a full size firearm. I like them. And most people that shoot them, they're not the most attractive looking gun. Now these new stylings and stuff with the lightweights and the cuts and all that kind of stuff makes it look a lot better. But it's kind of an old style, old design that's been around for a long time. But they just work. I mean, they're just reliable. I've got one, an old 2245 stainless from, I don't know when I got it, in the early 90s. I've put thousands of rounds through that thing. It
still runs like it's new.
Like a top, just one after another. So,
good one. What else?
Moving on. Smith & Wesson releases the new Performance Center M&P 10 millimeter M2.0. So there you go.
Is that their first 10 millimeter?
No, it's
No.
not. But it's just this is their new performance center version of it. So it's building off the success of the M&P 10 millimeter M2.0. Smith & Wesson listened and went to work and focused on features designed to increase the performance in order to take the series to the next level. Press release again.
There you go.
Chambered in 10 millimeter, new full-size polymer handgun is built with enhanced features, includes a ported 5.6-inch barrel. I love the look of that, the porting on that.
Yeah, I like it.
That's to help reduce muzzle rise, optic height, tritium night sights for clear sight picture, even in low light conditions. It's got the Performance Center tuned flat trigger with a crisp break and audible reset. Let's see, what do we got here? 1.3 inches wide, 8.6 inches long, 5.6 inches high, 31.4 ounces weight, so it's a heavy one. Comes with 2 magazines, 15+1 capacity. Like I said, night sights, polymer grip. It's optic ready. There again, just like all the standard bells and whistles. So optic ready, pick rail underneath. So stainless steel barrel. MSRP is $749.
Sounds about right for a Smith.
Yeah, it does. It does sound about right for a Smith. 10 millimeter it's a nice cartridge. You know you're shooting it. It's got some oomph to it. It hits like a freight train.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's out there. It's also expensive to shoot. So if you're wanting recreational plinking, that might not be the gun for you.
Do you foresee it? What is it, about $1 a round right now?
Yeah. Well,
under that a little bit?
About 80 cents a round.
80 cents?
Yeah.
Do you foresee that coming down now that all these manufacturers are coming out with it? And it's kind of the new sexy round that people
maybe a tiny bit, but not much, because where it would normally start to come down, the price of ammunition is going up. Okay. So they're going to kind of meet, so it's going to not really come down.
Gotcha.
So
good one.
Got some comments coming in here. Let's see. What do we got?
Bobo World's being active so far. How you doing, Bobo?
JS, thanks. Looking forward to the show tonight. Bobo World. Ouch. Yeah. None of these were cheap. The product announcement.
Looks like Bobo went shopping today too. He says he is at Vance's today.
Yeah. It looks like landed at Vance Retail today. I'm assuming one of the firearms there.
Yeah.
Left with a G4 and a Kel-Tec Sub 2K.
I'd say that's a good day.
Nice. I would say that's
on
a good
any
day,
day.
too.
That's a good day.
Yep.
Good deal. All right, what you got next?
Okay, next. This was kind of a last-minute addition that I wanted to put into the show to talk about. We're all familiar with the Bud Light thing, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
one of the most effective backlash boycotts.
Yep.
In history.
Yep. Very effective, and it's the whole adage, go woke,
go broke.
Go broke. So, anyway, so the whole Bud Light thing came out, and so I'll just go ahead and go through this first of all. So, a tweet was brought out by Graham Allen, who tweeted the Miller Lite commercial, expressing his shock that Miller Lite appeared to repeat Bud Light's mistake. He tweeted, did nobody learn from Bud Light's costly mistake? Miller Lite just dropped this woke advertisement. When will these beer companies learn? And a little bit of backstory with that. This commercial campaign, and if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to recommend, go out and watch it, but it's good for a laugh.
It's basically premised. I watched this and was kind of laughing through the whole thing. The premise is the whole feminist.
Yes.
It's aimed towards what about us women type of deal.
Yep.
But the funny thing in it, normally advertisers will use, what do they call them, bunnies or something like that. Hot women to promote their products.
Yep.
And the women they chose in this are average at best, mediocre. The women.
Well, that was all part of their point, I think.
They wanted to be, and they did a good job of it. They were mediocre-looking women, but
still used women though.
Yes, and then they walked through a hallway that had plastered old Miller Lite posters on it with bikini-clad chicks in it. So it's kind of like, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah. So anyway, that was the premise of it. They were wanting to get away from that old, objectifying women's stereotypical advertising. Anyway, here it comes. So the Bud Light thing dropped, and then this commercial kind of showed up, the Miller Lite thing. But here's the reality. It actually released in March. So it released prior to the Bud Light thing. It received bad publicity, so Miller pulled it and axed it back in March. Well, the Bud Light thing hit, and people have resurrected this ad, and now it's kind of remaking the world in the internet realm, and it's getting lambasted again. Well, here's the where I'm kind of going with this, because later on that same day, who should step in? But let me pull this up
I
here.
need to help you with that. I'm not good at it.
HK. Gun bunnies, no. Beer bunnies, no. Supporting women, 100.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that their advertising VP is a woman, a feminist woman. Am I right?
It's interesting you say that, because yes, that is actually
correct. So easy. So easy.
This tweet that HK put out got some backlash.
Of course it did.
It's like, people were doing the whole, man, you're going woke, you're going to go broke, all that kind of stuff. So what HK do? Well, this whoever was running the HK tweet, they decided to double down on it. So it's like, wow, woke? Allow me to translate. Objectifying women was never a good marketing strategy. In the firearms industry, that was a prominent strategy up until recently. Many industries have done that, including beer corporations. As an actual woman typing this, I'll use more words for you to comprehend. Using bunnies to sell products is trash marketing. Supporting women by not doing that is good.
I'm going to go out on a limb here because I know you, Craig. I have a feeling she's going to do a palm plant on her face. Is that where we're headed?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she will.
Oh my!
So, as you would maybe expect, Twitter lit HK up. The users were lambasting HK's woke messages, with one user urging the gun maker to quit making the woke assertions, and that user even wrote, "They need to stop digging." So basically, they were getting a lot of backlash and heat from all this stuff. Now, here comes some funnier parts. In a full sense of irony, H&K USA's marketing manager, and you called it, Angela Harrell, and there's a good chance that she might actually be the one who wrote these tweets. Don't know for sure.
Sounds probable.
So she's against women being objectified as far as in May of 2023. But obviously she felt different several years ago.
Here we go.
And this was, people found this stuff out. Remember, the internet does not let you escape from things.
Mm-hmm.
She was participating in the objectification of women herself. I was going to pull some other pictures up.
I love it, dude.
But then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. But that is her.
You're a fraud. What's her name?
Angela Harrell.
Angela Harrell, you're a fraud.
So that was quickly brought out. So
fake news.
Yeah. So HK quickly went into crisis control. They deleted all the tweets.
Good for HK. And
yesterday they tweeted this, and this is just hysterical. Now I don't know for sure what it means, but HK, the road forward, does not engage in identity politics. A policy was violated. Changes were made. So, I don't know.
So there's some people with brains on the board.
Yes.
That it sounds like they made a personnel decision. Maybe?
I think there's maybe some personnel decisions that have been made. And all this was to say, companies are seeing that sentiment is turning. They're not as willing to push against their core market just to make a point anymore. So the Bud Light effect is having an effect.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So HK is not wanting to take any chances.
I like it. Good on you, HK.
So,
all right.
What do you got?
I got a segment today. It is 11 recent defensive gun uses, DGUs. I can never remember that acronym for whatever reason. Defensive gun use cases that have happened this year that you may not have heard about because the news will squelch that. That's not. That's not the.
Does not fit the narrative.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to put out there, and that's going to be a reoccurring theme here. As early as January 1st in Philadelphia, In a potentially the first media-verified defensive gun use of 2023, police said a woman with a license to carry a firearm shot and wounded a man who assaulted her during an incident of domestic violence that occurred less than an hour into the new year. So she started off the year strong. A reminder, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that according to many studies ranging from 500,000 to 3 million times annually, a defensive gun use is recorded. So that's a pretty big number. These are just some of them. January 3rd in Dos Palos, California, a concealed carry permit holder was attempting to assist a driver whose vehicle, this one's weird, had become stuck in heavy mud. Police said when the driver became angry, he retrieved an axe from the trunk and swung it at the Good Samaritan. How dare you help me get my truck unstuck?
Wow, yeah. This is where we need Greta.
Yeah, no kidding. Bring back institutions. January 9th, police said in Georgia, police said an armed robber who tried to hide his face under a pair of women's panties entered a combined gas station and convenience store and pointed a handgun at the clerk. What he did not know that all 3 of the other customers inside the store were legally concealing weapons, and they worked together, disarmed the robber, and held him at gunpoint until the police arrived. Good work.
Good work.
January 11th, Panama City, police said that a man who was angry over lost property began shooting into a bar at closing time while multiple patrons and employees were inside.
Oh, goodness.
One patron, who had a concealed carry permit, heard the gunshots, ran toward the front door, and fatally shot the gunman. Nice.
Yeah, well,
nice.
That brings up there. How do you stop a bad guy with a gun?
There it is.
Guy with a gun.
They don't want to hear that noise, though. A couple more here. Utica, New York. When a disgruntled customer at the Applebee's restaurant slashed an employee across the face with a steak knife, that had to hurt. Police said an armed diner with a concealed carry permit intervened, ordering the man to drop the knife, and kept the assailant from further injuring the employee. Avondale, Arizona, January 18th. To protect himself and his customer, police said a gas station employee shot and critically wounded a masked man who tried to rob the station at gunpoint. Chicago, a concealed carry permit holder on January 20th, shot and wounded an armed robber. Spartanburg, South Carolina, January 22nd. Police said that an armed driver returned fire after a 19-year-old shot at him during a road rage incident. Although his car was hit by multiple bullets, neither he nor the passenger was injured. The young man fled, but later was arrested and charged. January 23rd, in Roswell, New Mexico, a woman fatally shot her husband in self-defense after he beat her and threatened to kill her inside a business they owned. The night before, the couple had an argument that prompted the woman to sleep inside the store, where the husband confronted her the next morning. Last one, January 27th, Haines City, Florida, a concealed carry permit holder returned home with his girlfriend to find 2 intruders in his kitchen. The homeowner drew his gun and fired 5 rounds at one intruder, striking him 4 times before fleeing with his girlfriend and calling police. Responding officers found the wounded intruder, a convicted felon, near the home, and were trying to identify and locate the second. So there's just a handful of early 2023 DGUs that you probably never heard about, but they're out there. They're all over the place. Like I said, 500 to 3 million per year. If you guys have any of those, send them to Craig's email address down here, and we will highlight them on the next one. But we always like to hear those, so bring them on.
Yeah, a couple things I want to point out here. Listing through these, you've got California, New York,
Florida, like 3 times.
Chicago. But I mean, all these.
I see what you're saying.
All these anti-gun places. Okay, defensive use of firearms still occurs. Now, I worry about some of these people because are they going to be brought up on charges themselves?
Heck no. Not in the blue states. They won't. They're the victims.
No, I'm talking about.
You're talking about the defensive people. Yeah, people. I got you.
So I would, worry about that. The other thing I want to point out too, the one that you listed there in Florida, the last one. Homeowner drew his gun, fired 5 rounds at one intruder, striking him 4 times. That's good shot placement.
That is good. That's good. I can't do that at the range.
Good stuff.
We got our buddy Uncle Mike has joined us.
Oh,
hi, Uncle Mike. Guns and 18-wheelers. I think that's a newbie. Thank you for being with us here, Guns and 18-wheelers.
Yeah, there was a CCW holder in California. There are some.
Yeah, what do you think that they had to do to get that that permit?
Goodness.
What, like firstborn child maybe? Like turn in your kid and we'll give you one?
Yeah. Now, the flip side of the coin, though, California, for being as anti-gun as they are political-wise, actually, I believe I've heard the statistic. I don't remember the exact numbers, but per capita, they have the highest gun ownership of any other state.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's surprising.
So
that's very surprising.
California, as a state, is not anti-gun.
I feel bad for everybody in the north.
I do too.
If you look at a map,
anyone who's in the interior
yes.
of California, especially the north, but along the entire length of it, it's just those couple
and
cities on the coast.
And they're held captive by the loons in L.A., San Francisco, San Diego.
Yep.
Idiots. Uncle Mike, let's see. I know the Avondale area by Luke Air Force Base. Okay, so he must have heard of that one. Bobo's World said must have served him Bud Light. I'm not sure how to work that one in, Bobo. All right, my next segment is 30 interesting facts about guns. Now, you are a gun aficionado, a historian, and a gunsmith. So some of these you may be like, yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I've heard. But these, most of these actually hit me like, I did not know that. And I know there's one on here that you didn't know.
Now, there probably
I know there's one.
There could be more than one, actually. So let's see what you got.
30 interesting facts about guns from kickassfacts.com. Pardon me, Mom. Number 1, the company Daisy. Everybody's had a Daisy, right?
Yep.
Did you have a Daisy growing up?
I sure
had
did.
a Daisy. Daisy Outdoor Products originally sold windmills. And when a customer would buy a windmill, they'd give them a complimentary BB gun as kind of a add-on prize. The BB guns became so popular that they stopped selling windmills and were just primarily BB guns.
That's just amazing.
Did you know that?
Actually, I did, and the reason why is because I was doing research when I was researching, and you guys won't be able to see it, it's up too high, but I actually have, and if we weren't YouTube live, I'd pick it up and show you, but that would like set off all the alarm bells and everything. But it's one of the first, it's an all-wood BB gun. It was one of the very first ones that they came out with.
Oh, very cool. All right, number 2. Over the past 50 years, gun owners have been responsible for over $2 billion in wildlife conservation in the United States due to 10% tax on guns and ammo. I didn't know that either. There must be a included 10% tax.
Yeah, there's an excise tax.
Is there really?
All firearms.
I did not know that. Number 3, President Garfield. His assassin purchased the gun that he thought it would look good in a museum.
Did not know that.
So he bought this gun. He chose the gun based on thinking into the future what he was going to be remembered. That's kind of weird. Russian astronauts take guns into space to protect themselves against bears if they land off course. How about them apples?
I didn't know that either, but it makes sense because we land in the ocean. They land on land.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The first time I read that, I'm like, there aren't any bears on the moon.
Man.
The city of Kennesaw, Georgia, I hope I said that right, has a law that every head of the household must own a gun. That's a place we should move.
That sounds good to me.
I think we'd fit right in. Number 6, the production team of, I don't know what that means.
Lord of War.
Do you know that? Is that a movie?
It's a movie, yeah.
I don't know that one. Bought
Nicolas
3,000
Cage.
real rifles to stand in for AK-47s because they were cheaper than prop guns.
Yep.
Interesting.
Probably not today.
Yeah. So AKs used to be pretty cheap, huh? Or pretty expensive.
No, they used to be cheap.
Okay.
Prop guns are always expensive.
Oh, real
They bought real
AK-47s
AK-47s.
instead of prop guns. Yeah. Now I get it. All right. Number 7, in Arizona, it is legal for any citizen to carry a gun, but it is illegal to carry nunchucks.
That's just bizarre. I got those over there too, Bob.
Yeah. You got half this stuff on your wall. 2000, a man from Houston, Texas, killed himself while playing Russian roulette. Oh, this is the Darwin.
I read ahead.
Killed himself while playing Russian roulette with a semi-automatic weapon. Chew on that. He did not realize that this type of weapon automatically chambered around when the gun is cocked.
Maybe he thought it was a high point.
This is probably where Darwin... Yeah. Yeah, we could have probably got away with that when we took it out to the range, huh? Number 9, in the 1920s and 30s, a famous Texas Ranger owned a set of pistols with no triggers. Their guns are fired by cocking and releasing hammers. Have you ever seen those?
I have not.
No pistol. I guess it just wouldn't have a lock. You'd pull it back and let it slam home.
Yeah, I could see where that could come in handy because those were back in there single action revolvers, so you had to cock the hammer manually and pull the trigger. Just get rid of that pulling the trigger step and just fan the hammer.
Yep. There is the price of an AK-47 in a town in Kenya was 15 cows in 1986. By 2005, the price had dropped to just 4 cows. Would you trade an AK for 4 cows? I would today. I would in a heartbeat, dude.
You would?
For 4 cows? Do you know how much?
Oh, you can trade an AK for 4 cows.
Yeah, heck
okay,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know how much
I
a
thought you
cow
were going
costs?
the other way. You'd give up 4 cows.
Oh,
for
no. Let's see. There is only one legally operated gun store in all of Mexico. You said this earlier today.
Yep.
Is that the picture you were going to put up?
No, I do have a picture, and this is not it. This is just a gun store picture.
Okay, but
it's meant for illustrative purposes. The actual gun store in Mexico is actually ran by the Mexican military, so I don't know if you would really want to.
Heck no.
That
that
can't
sounds
end well,
sketchy.
actually.
That sounds sketchy. Jackie Chan used to carry multiple guns and even a grenade to protect himself and other artists from the triad in the 1980s and 90s. I didn't know that. The Soviet Union designed a machine gun, the GSH 6-30, which with such a recoil that it damaged the plane it was mounted on. Fuel tanks ruptured, parts fell off, the electronic circuits took damage. At least 3 crashes were attributed to just the gun itself. Interesting.
Interesting.
It kind of goes along with the recoil of this next one. The recoil of an A-10 Warthog Gatling gun is 10,000 pounds of force, slightly more than the output of one of the A-10's 2 TF-34 engines. Is that comparable to the 12-gauge Hellcat shotgun? Is it about the same poundage? That thing just rocks your world, man. Let's see. Next one. Nazis created a weapon called the Gustav gun, and it is the largest gun ever built, weighing over 1,300 tons, and capable of accurately hitting a target 23 miles away.
That's incredible.
That is nuts. Jailers used to have the keys that doubled as single-fire guns as a last resort for self-defense. That's a good one. I like that.
Yep.
During the filming of World War Z, the Hungarian anti-terrorism unit raided a warehouse full of prop guns for the film. The guns were all found to be fully functional and had been flown in under false pretenses for the movie. Genius!
That
is genius. Somebody worked that over pretty nice.
Yeah.
Number 18, the revolver was first created by Samuel Colt when he was 16 years old. What's your 16-year-old doing today? The original designer of the Glock pistol fired all prototypes in his basement with his left hand so that he could continue drafting new designs with his right in case of a catastrophic failure. Huh.
There's someone who doesn't have a whole lot of faith in their own work, though.
That is true. That is true. He's a little sketchy on himself there. Number 20, there's a pistol called the Armatix Smart System IP1. The pistol won't fire unless a radio signal watch is located within 40 centimeters of a pistol. And the watch won't activate unless the fingerprint and the pin gun. Is this what we were talking about the other day that has kind of the biometric firing capabilities?
Yep.
I don't like it. Number 21, Taser is short for?
Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. I had never heard that
That's
before.
the one I thought you had never heard of.
Yep.
Right there. Number 22, a man once attempted to assassinate President Andrew Jackson with 2 pistols. However, both pistols were high points. That's not true.
They just misfired.
Let me back up. However, both pistols misfired and Jackson proceeded to beat the man to near death with his cane. It's a good story. They left that one out of the history books.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that one before.
James Bond originally used a Beretta 418 until a fan of the novels and a small arms expert told Ian Fleming that it was a lady's gun. Fleming wrote a scene in Dr. No to detail the exchange and give Bond his now famous Walther PPK.
Yep.
Did you know that?
Yeah, he used a little pansy gun at first, and
somebody called him out on it.
someone called him out on it, and the person that called him out on it, that's who he modeled Q after that.
Is that right?
Yep.
Paybacks? Let's see. In 1938, a revolver camera was invented to take a picture just as the trigger was pulled.
Smile, flash motor.
That's macabre. 25. During World War II, Pacific Island natives thought the misplaced cargo parachute drops delivered to them were from their dead ancestors. That's interesting. After the war, they imitated soldiers they had seen reenacting marches with wooden rifles and built airplanes of straw in hopes that the airdrops would soon return. Wow. Number 26, shotgun manufacturer Mossberg has a line of guns specially designed for killing zombies, as you can see on the screen there. Zombie killers. Number 27, a Finnish sniper had over 705 confirmed kills, 505 of which were from his Mosin Nagant rifle, which he used only with his iron sights.
That's impressive.
This guy was Superman. The rest of his kills were from his submachine gun. Dude, that's quite the history right there. 28, the Remington 870 pump-action shotgun is used by the U.S. Department of Education. For what?
I don't know. This is a mystery to me.
Number 29, Picasso used to carry a revolver loaded with blanks that he used to shoot at people who struck him as overly dull. I feel like doing that. That to me sounds like a great idea. If you're dull, you're getting a blank. Number 30, in Russian roulette, a properly lubricated and maintained revolver has a higher chance of not firing the bullet because gravity pulls the loaded chamber down if it is allowed to stop on its own. So what? That one, okay. Are you anybody going to play Russian roulette? I mean, do you need to know that?
If you're using that as your hopefully a way of winning the game, you might want to rethink your life choices.
Woo! All right, that's it. What'd you think of that?
That's pretty good. There's actually quite a few of those that I had not heard before.
Really?
So,
all right,
it's pretty good.
I'm glad I could add to your war chest. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of current events. Our current event topic is the debacle, the disgrace, the debauchery surrounding the whole Daniel Perry, Jordan Neely...
Daniel Penny.
Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel Penny.
Yep.
Jordan Neely situation going on. Long story short, you guys all know what happened. Daniel Perry turned himself in to a corrupt New York district attorney or police precinct. What I wanted to say, just real quick, on May 1st, 2023, Daniel Penny, a 24-year-old Marine Corps veteran and hero from Queens, killed Jordan Neely aboard a Manhattan subway train after placing him in a lethal chokehold, which I still think that is overused in the news and the media.
Because it's a chokehold that it just turned out
it sounds bad. It sounds bad, and that's what they want out of it. Even though it's a restraint hold, it's a lethal choke. I just hate that.
Yep.
Neely, a homeless man with over 40 prior arrests and severe mental illness issues, had reportedly started behaving erratically and showing aggression towards other passengers. Penny was charged with second-degree manslaughter and turned himself into police on Friday. Video from the day showed Penny placing Neely in a recovery position in an attempt. So, if you angrily, with intent, murder somebody, how many murderers actually go over and turn them in after they shoot them? Turn them over in the resuscitation.
It doesn't happen often. I mean, this was clearly someone who did what he needed to do to stop a potential threat, and then did what he needed to do to try to make sure that it wasn't something that would be lethal.
In a subway full of a mix of humanity, a Marine veteran who teaches self-defense would almost feel the obligation, with the absence of a police presence, when people's lives are in jeopardy or at the very least from getting injured or hurt by this insane lunatic.
Yes.
I can see why he stepped up to the plate. In that group, in that subway, he is the best person to get in there and take care of business.
Yep.
In the absence of police.
In the absence of police.
Which is prevalent in New York, by the way.
Well, yeah. And the reality is you're kind of trapped on the subway.
Yep.
So, you know, there was a potential threat. And it's not like, when I say potential threat, it's because that's the only way you can actually label it. But this guy had, he had 40 police arrests, you know, prior to that. He had a warrant out because he was under investigation for pushing someone onto subway tracks like a couple days before. And he was also, I believe there was a warrant out because he had, for investigating striking a 65-year-old, you know, in the face.
A 65-year-old woman.
Yeah, 65-year-old woman. So this is someone with a history of actual violence, acting violent, you know, and so someone just basically put a stop to that threat, and it turned out tragically. I am very certain that Daniel Penny did not intend to actually kill that person.
Regardless of all that, I think the New York City government, the leaders there, are to blame here. This guy, 40.
Yeah.
40 arrests.
Why was he still out? Why was he allowed out in public?
That's right. So Mr. Penny here has a case that there was no good reason why Jordan Neely should still be out in society causing havoc and threatening and hurting people. And basically he had to thrust himself into the situation along with a Mexican man and a black man to restrain this guy.
But the only person that they're going after is Daniel Penny, because he was the white guy.
So what, in your opinion, what would have happened if we switch races here between the victim?
We would have never even heard about it.
Wouldn't have ever heard about it.
It would have just been a little blip on the New York news. Never made the national news. Nothing.
Yep. So what kind of pictures have you been seeing online of Jordan Neely?
Oh, just like this one we have up here.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see
where he was a Michael Jackson impersonator, or one of them, from about 15 years ago, where he was still a kid. That isn't what he looks like.
You know what that reminds me of? Is the graduation picture of Michael Brown.
Yeah.
Remember that? Mm-hmm. They didn't show the picture of him reaching for a gun from a police officer.
There's a pattern of that where they go back to show these pictures of these violent criminals when they were still, I'm going to say, innocent children. And that's the picture that they will put out there to try to spin that narrative that this was just another innocent victim that was killed when that isn't what the story is.
Right. So this case, how this turns out, will have deep ramifications and reverberations throughout the state of New York and maybe beyond that nationally on how people react to being in these situations, right? Mm-hmm. If Daniel Penny gets a harsh sentence, that just basically gives the green light to people, to the insane, to the homeless, to the thugs, that they can just do whatever they want because they're wearing the right colors, so to speak.
Yep.
So I just wanted to bring that out there. Hey, Daniel Penny, we're with you. You're a hero. I noticed on the not GoFundMe. What's the other one?
Give, Send, Go.
Give, Send, Go.
And actually, Uncle Mike's asking, where can I donate for the USMC person?
Oh, did he ask that?
Yep.
Give, Send, Go has one. Check out Poso. What's the dude's name? Posobiec.
Oh, John Posobiec?
Yeah, he has the links in his Twitter feed, so you can go straight to him. But last week, it was up to $2 million in like 2 days.
Yeah,
like Friday and Saturday, it was $2 million.
Last I saw, it was pushing $2.6 million.
Yep, so it's moving pretty good.
Which sounds like a ton of money. until you get into a criminal defense scenario, and that money will just start like you light it on fire because lawyers, good lawyers, are expensive, and he's going to need a good lawyer.
Yeah, yes. Good deal. All right, what's next?
Well, I think actually what we have next is rapid fire.
All right, should we shout out? We got some good stuff on here. Did you already go down through it? Was there anything we need to comment on?
Let's see.
Secession began today in Oregon. Bobo, I'm interested in that. I'm going to have to look that up.
We're going to have to look into that.
That secession, I think, is a good thing in certain situations here, and I'd like to see that momentum start.
Yeah, I need to do some more research into that because I know they've been looking about it and talking about it for a while. I'm curious, what does Idaho have to do?
Yeah. Right?
Because they're wanting to secede and join Idaho.
You're talking Washington, the
Washington County,
east part of Washington. Yep.
And Oregon as well, I believe, they're wanting to do the same thing because they both border right into Idaho. Or maybe they're just wanting to secede to create, Eastern Oregon.
Probably. Yeah.
Whichever. It's something to watch, and I wish them luck in their endeavors because there again, the entire state of Oregon, it's not even a big city. That one city just
dominates
everything.
Bobo says that he had kidnapped a 7-year-old before. I assume he is talking about Jordan Neely. I don't remember reading that, but I'll take your word for it. He is also on the top 50 of who to watch in New York City, according to Uncle Mike. Queen sang about his dust. All right, so let's do some rapid fire. I got some good ones for you here today. Please comment on what you think about them. Some of them, like this first one, is kind of like a holy cow. I had no idea. Let's go ahead and put that first one up there. What you see here is a map of the continent of North America, mainly the Canadian state. See that little red line down there in the bottom right-hand corner? And it looks like, that's where Toronto and all that is. 50% of all Canadians live below that red line.
That's incredible.
Isn't that something? All right, next one. That's just a holy cow blip for the day. Here's a police release artist impression of the man who murdered CNN. Whoever thought it was a good idea to bring Donald Trump on CNN for, I can't remember her name, but
I can't remember her name either, but they thought this was going to end up being a hit piece on Trump, and it turned into a Trump rally.
It turned up to make Trump untouchable in the primary.
Yep.
It's pretty much what it is, but I thought that was funny. All right, next one. Here's another world population map that I found on some World Facts website. In that circle, there are more people living inside that circle than outside of it. So, I mean, that's just rough guesstimate. That's like 1/10 of the whole land mass.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And more people live in that than anywhere else. I mean, that's crazy. All right, next. According to YouGov America's Twitter feed, I know, disclaimer, this is off of u.gov.com topics. These are surveys that they did. They are not scientific, but they kind of show a temperature. This is the good one. Does the Constitution protect unrestricted access to guns for anyone or just the militias? The percent of people who say for anyone in the U.S., total of 61% of adults say yes, it's for anyone. Surprisingly, 45% of the Democrats polled said yes. And then, as you can kind of guess, the independents and Republicans both felt like it does protect. They are for anyone in the U.S. So the next one's a little bit less positive. Most Americans support these gun control laws. Universal background check. 76% of Americans favor these. It sounds good. It sounds like it might have an effect. It's a slippery slope, yes. Craig.
Yeah, and it's a bad one, too, because people don't realize what that really means. I mean, just simple stuff. Say your dad has a shotgun.
Yep.
And he wants to give that to his son. Not
without a background check.
Not without a background check. Let's say you and your buddy want to go hunting, and he doesn't have a shotgun. So you just lend him one of yours.
Gets pulled over by the...
Yep. Not without a background check. Yep. And it's just crazy. And the only way that you can actually operationalize that would be with an absolute registry of all firearms so that they can track them.
Which is what they want.
Right. And as soon as they have that, history has shown every single country that has enacted a full registry of firearms has turned around and confiscated them.
Yep. Red flag laws, 68%. This is another slippery slope. Who's making the decision whether you're a red flagger?
Everybody, actually. I mean,
It could be your neighbor.
Your neighbor
doesn't like you parked on
ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, in-laws.
So 68% of Americans are okay with this because they're not presenting it to the public correctly. It's all I don't even know what you call it. It's all colorful language that makes it sound like there's going to be unicorn farts and all that stuff. But it's they're not telling the truth, leaving out truth or lying by omission.
Yep.
Number 3, limiting concealed carry licenses, 65%. Stricter gun storage laws. There's one of those in Columbus.
Yep.
That's falling around or bouncing around the courts right now. Banning high-capacity magazines, 58%. I thought that would be higher, but it's still majority.
That's all these numbers are kind of troubling, actually.
It is. 58. We got work to do. That's the gist of this one. We've got work to do. Let's go to the next one real quick. Percentage of Americans who say gun laws should be more restrictive than they are today. 55% of U.S. adults. This one kind of ticks me off also. If you look at they split it up into Gen Z and millennials. 69% Democrats think that the gun laws need to be more strict. In the older generations, the Woodstock crowd,
this would be your Hillarys and your Bidens and all of that ilk. They've been trying to take guns for years, so is it any surprise that
87% of them think they need to be more restrictive. Yep. Republicans are about, that's high. 39% of Gen Z and millennial Republicans.
And even older generations, almost a quarter.
Come on, dude.
You see, and they're
falling for what the TV tells them.
They're falling for what the TV tells them, and this is one of the areas too. You alluded to it already. You have to take some of this with a grain of salt. I don't know if I completely believe these numbers.
Yeah, that's good. That's true. All right, next one. States with the most job quitters. I thought this was interesting because it kind of matches the electoral map. If you look at some of the hot spot leftard states like California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, they're all dark red, which means that their employees have a very short time period of staying on the job.
They made me work 8 hours.
I can't believe my boss made me come into work today. And then
3 days in a row.
Some of the people with the conservative family moral values, like your Montanas, your Texases, your Louisianas, they're more likely to hang on to jobs for longevity and
take care of your family.
Take care of your family.
Do what's right.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yep.
Next one kind of goes along with conspiracy theorists. I tell you what, they think that is still a bad word to call you that. They think that is deflammatory to call you a conspiracy theorist. I wear it with a badge of honor.
At this point, yeah, because look at the track record. Yep. And now, granted, this might not actually be a scientific measurement.
I think it's right on the money.
But, man, all this stuff, I'm telling you anymore, the more wacky a conspiracy theory that's out there, the more likely I am to believe it anymore.
That's right. That's right. All right, this one's for Bobo World. This next one, actually, no, this one's not Bobo World yet. The second one is. But anyways, this one, Happy Mother's Day. We just had Mother's Day last weekend. To all the guys that registered their pistol brace. So,
yeah, and with that, on a serious note, the day is coming. It's only in a couple weeks, May 31st. So don't get caught with them.
Have you heard any more? Are we going to Supreme Court?
It's still just bouncing around the courts.
Yeah.
It's ultimately going to go to the Supreme Court.
But it might be actually intacted for a couple months.
It's going to be completely enforced. So, I'm not saying to go ahead and register all these things as NFA items because I think that's ridiculous. Personally, I would rather just take the brace off and whatever as opposed to registering it.
Right.
Because ultimately this is going to go through the courts and it's going to get turned over. And so if you register it, once an NFA item, always an NFA item. So you're going to have all that hassle when you could have just waited. And if they don't overturn it, then our freedoms are just being chipped away. So really, what does it matter?
What does it matter? Yep. Next one. This one's for Bobo. I think he was the one that had the Bud Light comment earlier. I'll just let that sit there for a second. True. All right. Next one. Another Bud Light meme. Bud Light. That's in the tampon aisle, right? I like that one. All right, a shout out to Allegheny County Sheriff's Office. Last week they had a event. They set up tents and invited the public to come in and get CCW permits re-upped or new ones applied for, new permits and renewals. It says here they processed 1,092 new and renewal permits during that one day out there. So
that's awesome.
I think we need to prop things up like that, that you've got sheriff departments that are actually there for the people.
Yep.
So next one, this is kind of something we've seen before. You've got leftard on the left saying gun sellers are accomplices of crimes, and then you got my neighbor standing out there. It says spoons made me fat. So that's a good analogy. Next one is kind of a facts. Did you know it? This one kind of hit me. You kind of said this is the way you saw it. Actually, this is how you would imagined it. But I would never have guessed that we were 9th in the world as far as.
Most of this makes sense to me. I thought our reserves were still greater than that. And I still think they are. There's something with how this is worded. This is by proven reserves. So there's got to be something, because right now we can't drill in a lot of our areas, so we can't prove that the oil's reserves are.
Didn't Biden sell a bunch of it to somebody too?
Oh well, yeah, but
that was a bunch of our reserves like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought that was. I mean, I expected Venezuela and Saudi Arabia to be up there, but Canada's got us by 3 times. That seems weird to me. All right, enough of that. Enough of the oil. This next one. Have you noticed, for those of you that are in our age group, 20 to 25 years old?
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding. If you've been on this planet for 40, 50 years like Craig and I have, news articles, news broadcasts on TV from 1975 to 2010, there was virtually no mention of words like white privilege, diversity and inclusion, systemic racism, and unconscious bias, words that have been used to fan the flames of race, dissension between races. But if you look at the spike after 2010, 2012, right, they all go up like in unison. Like somebody got the memo out to everybody. Hey, start talking about these buzzwords.
Yep, and they're absolutely buzzwords. They're all strung together too in some kind of a weird sentence. It's ridiculous at its core, but it's also frightening because just look at that, the slope on that. You're just trucking along with, the academics and then like the weird universities, you're bouncing stuff around, and then suddenly it's like they opened Genie's bottle and just released it, and there's almost not a newspaper that's published today that there isn't a story about one of those somewhere on.
And it's on every news program on TV. There's going to be news program is programming. I mean, they are programming us to believe that we're all racists.
Yep. Whether you're aware of it or not, because it's unconscious bias.
What a bunch of crap. Thanks, Bobo. You're right. It was Obama's fault. That's right. All right, this is the one that kind of goes back to what you were referring to earlier, where kind of on the Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny situation, where this would have never even been, we would have never heard about this if there was different skin color involved.
Yep.
So what a news program might tell you, you see the little news camera down at the bottom focusing in on that one little yellow line. In 2018, there were 59,778 instances of white on black crime. That sounds hideous, and it is hideous. crime is bad is bad.
Yep.
But what they don't show you is the rest of the graph, if you want to look at that. I mean, there's, heck, Hispanic on white crime, white on Hispanic crime. There's only one, Hispanic on black crime is less than white on black crime. All the rest of them, black on white, black on Hispanic, Hispanic on white, white on Hispanic, are all more than white on black crime. Yet, what do they want to propagate? That Joe Biden sat up in front of a black commencement ceremony, a college graduation ceremony, and said verbatim that white supremacy is the absolute biggest threat to our democracy right now. That he called it domestic terrorism.
Yes.
White supremacy is domestic terrorism, is our biggest threat.
It's that whole wordplay again. They're now linking white supremacy, terrorism, and domestic terrorists.
Yep. So they can
all together, and they keep saying all those words together, and so you get the NPCs out there. And for anyone who doesn't know, that's a non-player character. If you ever played Dungeons and Dragons and were a total geek, these are the characters. They're not real people. They do whatever they're told. And in this case, NPCs are the people who do whatever the television tells them.
Yep.
So all these people now are just out there just getting fed this line. It's like, oh, white people, white racism, domestic terrorists. They're just linking it all together.
Yep. It's all part of the programming. But I guarantee you will never see a graph that shows all these. It's always just going to be white on black crime. None of the other racial groups will ever be highlighted or even shown.
Yep, because it doesn't feed the narrative.
It does not feed the narrative. So we'll move on there. The last, no, I got two more. Hat tip Texas gun rights. Red flag laws. I can't talk. Red flag laws. Number one, violate the Second Amendment. I think we can agree to that, right? Yep. We talked about that. It violates the Fourth Amendment, which is
unreasonable searches and seizures. Primarily the seizures, because red flag law, they take your stuff.
Yep. Under the guise of that, it's okay because it's a red flag law. Somebody flagged you for being a potential threat to whatever without any due process, which is violating
the Fifth Amendment. And so people don't realize that what these red flags law what they are. They're basically a violation of almost all of our constitutional rights, all wrapped up into one thing. And they make it sound pretty. It's like, well, it's a protective order to make sure that they don't harm themselves or others. It's like
it could be frauded so much. It could be twisted for political enemies. It could be twisted for a spurned lover. It's just anybody could be up for it if you don't have connections that can get you out. But
and then, like you have lists up there, disproportionately negatively impact veterans.
Absolutely, PTSD,
things like that. Just being a veteran, people a lot of times have this idea. It's like, oh, you got to be careful around them because you don't want to set them off.
Right.
And so people are going to be hypersensitive. So you're a veteran. You just happen to have a bad day one day, and suddenly you come home and all your stuff's been seized, or puts gun owners' lives at risk and law enforcement lives at risk because you're just sitting at home watching TV, and suddenly your door's blown open and people are rushing in. All you know is your home's being invaded.
That's right.
So you might try to do something to defend yourself and then get killed in the process.
Well, I believe there was a story about that. I think it's Massachusetts has red flag laws enacted, and they busted in this dude's house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Bust in. And of course he pulls his gun out and starts shooting at the cops, which gives them the right to fire back, and ended up ending his life. So it's under no circumstances is this a good idea.
No. Nope.
So, last one, folks. Hat tip Brian Joseph. Check this out. U.S. population in 1955, 161 million. U.S. population in 2023, 332 million. Now look, in 1955, mental asylum patients was 559,000. In 2023, mental asylum patients, 35,000. This is the nutshell of what is wrong today. with, I mean, you name it. There are mental illnesses out there all around us, and this is the reason why, because there's no place for them to go get help and be, and protect them from themselves, protect them from others, and protect us from them.
Yep. And well, you just summed it all right up right there, because they did away with all these institutions because there was some abuse that was going on. So by abuse, I mean there were people being put into institutions that really weren't crazy, but
Red flag law.
Yeah, exactly, same type of thing. But usually it was, some relative wanted control of someone's estate, so they say that the person's, they get them locked up and then become their guardian, and there was a bunch of stuff like that. And then there was just abuse of patients in these facilities and stuff. So their solution, just close them all.
Yeah.
So
look what that got us.
Yeah. So I'll go out and a number, and I'll just pull a number out of a huge number. Let's go with, say, half of the people that were in the institutions should not have been there or were being abused. Okay, that's terrible. The solution isn't to shut the entire thing down and put all those people out there.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they did.
Is that a good usage of that?
Oh, goodness. This is not a good one to
end on.
Not an uplifting one.
All right, you want to hit some of the comments? We'll throw shout-outs. I tell you what, Bobo World and Uncle Mike have been super active. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you much. Appreciate it. Actually, there was someone in there. Where'd it go? Bobo World. Many states offer CCW for free if you bring your DD-214. That is true. It's a wonderful thing that's out there. For anyone who doesn't know what any of that is, CCW is your concealed carry permit, and DD-214 is what you get when you are honorably discharged from the military. So it's a great perk. Sometimes concealed carry, there is some fees involved with it, and they'll waive that. Sometimes also, depending on what your MOS was, you won't even have to take any type of any training if there's training requirements for your concealed carry.
Gotcha. That's a good one. Let's see, is there excuse?
Zalatia Z. It's always used as an excuse for terrible entertainment such as movies, games, comics, etc.
Send them all to Metaverse. Good stuff. Yeah. I think that's about it. Appreciate it, guys. Like I said, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're starting to see some original gangsters here, repeat viewers, and we very much appreciate that. Share us with your friends. Let's get wild in 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks from today.
Back in 2 weeks from today. And till then, if any other comments or anything, make sure you let us know. As Evan said, hit the like and subscribe button. Share us with your friends. If you think this was the worst sense of time you ever spent, tell all your friends you don't like to waste their time. I don't really care how you get the name out there. We're just trying to grow the channel, and like we said earlier, kind of beat the algorithm. Because YouTube does not like this type of content, and we're wanting to be able to spread the word. So we appreciate any assistance we can get, and as always, we appreciate your guys' viewership and comments.
Find something else to drink other than Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Anheuser-Busch products are out now. Miller products are out now.
We dropped Crest. Crest is one of them that.
Is that a beer or a toothpaste?
No, that's toothpaste.
You were drinking your toothpaste?
No, as just something we're boycotting. But that dude that dresses up as a little girl, I can't remember his name, but he's one of their spokesmen now.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, Toast. Like, dude, I'm not going to be associated with anything glorifying a sickness like that. I mean,
you don't mind who these people advertise to and who they want to reach, but know your core market. And don't do things that are purposely going to irritate them. That's just common sense.
And why pander to 2% of the population?
Right.
Isn't just basic marketing. You want to be over your market share. You want to get half, or you want to aim towards the biggest piece of the lowest hanging fruit.
Yep. You would think.
Idiots.
Oh well. We'll go ahead and wrap up from there before we go on to another tirade. Again, thank you for watching, and as always, until next time. Be safe.
Peace. Peace out. See ya.